Hello and welcome to our presentation on what is the role of human geography in a changing world. Human geography is a subject that is widely diverse and changing, and therefore, in our changing world, characterised by globalisation, changing politics, climate change and new pandemics, it is important to reflect upon the role that geography has in this changing world. In this presentation, we will be arguing that the role of human geography is increasingly important in a changing world, as seen by its interdisciplinary nature, the different cultural perspectives it brings together, as well as its focus on ethics. We will also conclude that geography's role is important when it can work complementary alongside other subjects. This presentation draws upon Professor Gail Davies' paper, titled Searching for Glowfish, Aesthetics, Ethics and Encounters with the Neon-Baroque, as well as an interview that we conducted with Davies based on this paper. The paper investigates the biogeography of glowfish, the first genetically modified animal, and incorporates ideas of Baroque geographies into her research to investigate the ethics, science, and aesthetics of these fish across 3 different locales: Singapore, the USA, and Belgium. The Baroque, as Dixon and Jones argue, offer techniques for welcoming otherness into geography by providing alternative ways to describe things and the relations between them, and, as we will discuss later, will play a key role in human geography. In the next section, we will discuss the 3 factors that we believe demonstrate the importance of human geography in a changing world, starting with interdisciplinarity.
In our interview, Professor Davies described the subject of geography as a kind of undiscipline, citing the freedom it gives her to do interdisciplinary work as the reason why she became a geographer. The large-scale problems we face today in such a developed and globalized world, like climate change and pandemics, are often seen as too large for any one discipline to understand and provide solutions for. This may well be true, but individual disciplines can make great leaps forward in knowledge and understanding. An obvious example is the COVID-19 pandemic. Geneticists and politicians, to take 2 examples, have played key roles in overcoming the pandemic, but they both played roles that required the other and yet couldn't be done by the other. Clearly, the coming together and interaction between the 2 has done more than the 2 could have done individually, and I think this shows why geography is so important for the future, as it draws on all disciplines without committing to one. This is epitomised by G.K. Gilbert in 1909. Progress is ever through the interaction of the sciences one on another, and scientific trespass is one of the profitable modes of interaction. However, despite making it clear that she did not believe geography should be viewed as more important than any other disciplines, Professor Davies believes it certainly deserves a seat at the table, as a reminder to scientists that they don't get to define the world purely in the ways that they want to.
Right. So on this slide, we're going to look at how human geography takes into account different cultural perspectives. In Professor Gail Davies' paper on glowfish, she shows the spatial variation in attitudes towards buying and selling glowfish. In the three regions that she explored and that we'll be exploring are Europe, the USA, except California, and Southeast Asia. So starting with Europe, there are no genetic modified fish that are authorized for sale or marketing in Europe, due to Europe being a region with a history of animal welfare and pet keeping. However, if we move to the States, one is able to buy and sell glowfish easily, and this is due to the more commodified and consumerist society. If we go to Southeast Asia, there tends to be a very unsentimental attitude and a more innovation-based stance to the genetic modification and experimentation of animals that would probably be contested in Europe. In China, there are enormous institutes of science and technology, and they have been set up and they're experimenting heavily with genetic modification to see for economic circumstances. And these different attitudes are shaped by cultural and economic circumstances. The changes in attitudes towards genetic modification are explored by human geography and change as the world changes. As the world changes and becomes more globalized. The cultural perspectives tend to also be linked to politics, as regulations change with changes in government. With the UK leaving the EU, the UK's regulations may allow for flexibility with research and sales of genetically modified animals. So to conclude the slide, human geography plays a vital role in bringing together different perspectives from around the world, reflecting differences in regulations and opinions geographically.
The different cultural perspectives have become increasingly apparent due to Brexit, with the UK being provided with the opportunity to break from EU law, which first banned genome editing and genetic modification in 2018. There is currently a government consultation on the issue, which is due to end on the 17th of March 2021, deciding whether the UK will change its perspective on genetic modification and gene editing. This decision brings together many different scientific, political, economic and ethical considerations, demonstrating the importance of geography as an interdisciplinary subject. Michael Gove commented in 2018 whilst he was Environment Secretary, "I think we should have an open mind about that technology and not allow debates from the past to influence how we look at that technology," suggesting that the UK will change from EU law. Although a change in the law is unlikely to allow the sale of glowfish commercially, as in the majority of America, the change could allow more gene editing within crops and animals in the UK, which would bring economic benefits and help prepare to combat climate change. With Dennis Murphy, a professor of biotechnology and head of genomics and computational biology at the University of South Wales, commenting, "Genome editing is already used in medicine and has immense potential for tackling major agricultural challenges related to food security, climate change and sustainability. This shows that geography has a critical role in a changing world, as geography is associated with major environmental and political changes, such as climate change and Brexit."
Differing cultural perspectives and subsequent views on ethics play a key role in Baroque geography, an up-and-coming subdiscipline within the field. Deborah Dixon is a leading figure in discussing this topic. She poses a key question: what can Baroque geography do, inviting us to further explore what role it will play in a changing world. Dixon references Professor Gail Davies and explores her use of Baroque in terms of its visual relevance to glowfish and the consequent human cognitive responses generated by genetically modified animals, such as the jellyfish shown in this image. In our interview with Professor Gail Davies, she discussed the importance of geometric Euclidean patterns and images of space, such as time-space compression and power geometries. She then argued how the Baroque aesthetic is a way of trying to think beyond this geometric idea of space, in which time and space are often substituted. This reveals the constant geographic relevance in our changing world, as trajectories of development have adjusted. For example, there is an assumption that if one country undergoes a process, then another country will follow in the same pattern, i.e., time-space compression and development assume a linear geography. This perspective, however, has undergone change and will continue to do so. The increasing prevalence of Baroque geographies in our changing world will essentially dismantle this idea that there is a geography of progression toward one country being more ethical than another. Dixon also supports this statement when saying that Baroque offers techniques for welcoming otherness, implying our changing world, via human geography, will accept differences more readily. This also links into the idea of a slippery slope, from an ethical perspective, in which if policy is changed in a country, others will more or less instantly follow. Baroque geographies emphasise how this slippery slope idea is becoming more redundant, and instead, facilitated by human geography, we need to find a more nuanced way of dealing with the empirical and changing perspectives in our changing world.
In conclusion, we believe that human geography plays a significant role in our changing world. This is due to its interdisciplinarity, its ability to unite different cultural perspectives, as well as its exploration of ethics through Baroque geographies. In addition, geography is important because it has a central role in bringing together multiple disciplines. As Professor Davies commented in our interview, geography certainly should be defended because it holds open a space for different kinds of factors to come together to try and explain things. However, it is also clear that human geography in a changing world will be more important when it can work alongside other disciplines, which, as Professor Davies also commented, geography is really good at pulling those different parts of knowledge making together. Thank you for listening to our presentation, and here are our references.